So in the Old Testament, the Gentiles would go and cut down a tree, deck it with silver and gold, and basically put ears on it like it was someone and worship it, so to speak. And God tells us not to do that. But my question is, why were they doing this? What were they thinking? And why the Christmas tree? Well, as you can see here, the Christmas tree, usually has a bunch of lights on it, and it has a bright star at the top. Well, we know that Jesus is called the bright morning star. And Hanukkah is right before Christmas. And Hanukkah is called the Festival of Lights. I believe that these things are all definitely connected. And I'm going to show you why I think that they were worshiping this Christmas tree, even putting ears on it as if it was someone, not just something. Genesis 1:1, the very first verse in the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. The numerical value of Genesis 1:1 in Hebrew is 2701, calculated by assigning a numerical value to each Hebrew letter and adding them together. The number 2701 is a triangular number because it represents the sum of the first 73 integers. That means that when you add 1 up to 73 up, it equals 2701. And can be arranged in a pattern of dots forming an equilateral triangle. What is an equilateral triangle? What an equilateral triangle is a triangle when you make it of dots that every side has the exact same amount of dots. That's why the word equal is in the word triangle, equilateral triangle. And the number 2701, which is the numerical value for Genesis 1:1, happens to be a number that makes a perfect triangle when you make it of dots. An equilateral triangle. I see pixels there. Pixels, this reality. But do you see it already? The Christmas tree? Right? And it's the light of God. Remember a light shined on Paul? Lights shining down on people? That's exactly the shape that a light would make when coming from a single point, just like a flashlight. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecuted. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. If this happened to somebody today, this is what they would say it is. Exactly like a UFO encounter, right? I mean, it's identical, almost, if you think about it. What else is 2701? It is also noted for being the product of two reflective prime numbers, 37 and 73. So it says 2701 is the product of 3773, which means that 37 times 73 equals 2701. And it's also amazing because if you take 2701 and add it to its reflection, 1072, you get back to 3773. And 3773 are reflections of each other too. This is amazing. And this is the very first verse of the Bible. And if you take 3773, 3 times 7 times 73, it equals 1533, which is the exact amount of verses in the book of Genesis, 1533. And God declares the end from the beginning. And what is 1533? 1 times 5 times 3 times 3 is 45. The square root of 2025, meaning that 45 times itself, 45 equals 2025, the end. God declares the end from the beginning. Is that amazing? But you get the same outcome if you just multiply 1533 twice. 1 times 5 times 3 times 3 times 1 times 5 times 3 times 3 equals 2025. It's just like doing 45 times 45. And again, if you do it 3 times, you get the date of the rapture. 1 times 5 times 3 times 3 times 1 times 5 times 3 times 3 times 1 times 5 times 3 times 3 equals 9/11/25, which is the first day of Hanukkah, Kislev 11, when you start from the full moon as a new moon, December 4th. You come to December 14th, which is 9/11/2025, Kislev 11, which is the first day of Hanukkah. And all this has to do with what? The light of God. What is Hanukkah called? The Festival of Lights. It is so on. This is the end. This is it. 37 and 73 are the numerical values for the word wisdom in Hebrew. 37 in ordinal gematria and 73 in standard gematria. And this is all about God's wisdom. And he creates everything through his wisdom. Proverbs 3:19. And 37 times 73 is 2701, which is a perfect equilateral triangle, which is the light of God. We are children of light. We've been translated into the kingdom of light. So my guess is that this has something to do with them worshiping the Christmas tree. They knew something. Also, 2701, the equilateral triangle that it makes, when it makes that triangle with 2,701 dots, it's exactly 73 rows, the value of the word wisdom. And there's other things that this looks like. The pyramids, of course, right? Or a mountain. The Bible talks about the mountain of God. Everything in the physical is reminiscent or a shadow of something in the spiritual.